does it feel to be back in the stadium where you've got some great memories?
It is quite special, isn't it? It's such a great stadium, and we haven't been here for so long, as in the Wallabies haven't been here for so long. Just over my right shoulder, I hit 2 from 5 one day and became a hero. So, as in last time Bledisloe, so 2002. But it's a place where people can come and enjoy the moment, enjoy good footy, and it's great to see that we've got afternoon games coming up. You know, this place brings back, as you said, brings back great memories for me through you know, Lions series, through Bledisloe Cups, and so you know, walking back in here and watching, you get this great experience, and you know, nostalgia plays a big part of, I suppose, rugby as well, and you know, drawing on the past is always something special, and when you think back of it on that history, it makes you feel proud. So you know, hopefully these guys now can write their own piece of history and think back to the times, you know, down the track to say, hey, you know, how fantastic was it to play here at Stadium Australia?
Is this the year that Bledisloe comes back?
Yeah, why not? You know, why not? Tough, 2 games only, which means Australia have to win the 2 games. You know, it's as Joe said before, it's a process. You know, there's a lot of there's been a lot of chat from the previous World Cup. And there's a lot of building to go forward, and there's a new coach to come through, new coaches to come through as well. And I think at the same time, you've got players there that want to make amends. We've seen the standard in Super Rugby it's pretty good this year. I mean, you know, the teams, and you always talk about being competitive against the Kiwi teams. And I think Australia has been this year. You know, some of the performances so far has been pretty red hot. So again, it's that consistency that you're trying to get. That's the big one whenever you play the Kiwis. But you know that, you know, they are I always believe they're the standard, and the way they play, their skill level, and if you can match that and better it, you go okay. So look, why not? You know, and it's always tough to win 2. It's always tough to win 1, and it's been a while, but you know, why not this year?
Would you prefer to see it go back to 3?
3 is always tough as well. Yeah, there was the years that when we played, it was a 1. You know, like, and it was just a one-off. I like the 3-game series. It gives a real contest. But look, if it's 2 and regards to the schedule, that's what you got to to deal with, you know. And it's, as I said, it's been a bit of time between holding out the Bledisloe Cup, but you know, what more determination do you need to get a job done by winning over there, which is always tough, and then winning back here. So you know, an afternoon game here in Sydney, I mean, that's just special. I mean, that's what sort of, you know, you grew up playing afternoons football, didn't you? You grew up playing rugby during the day. Only through, I suppose, you know, what was TV in the advent of sort of, you know, the old Super Rugby type thing and Tri-Nations, night games came through. But you know, my memory, and you know, it was mentioned at the start there, the last game against New Zealand was in 1995, and I remember vividly singing the national anthem with the sun on the back and the blue skies, and the crowds being full with, you know, with families, you know, coming out to support. So I think that's going to be a great thing for the guys to experience. An afternoon game is pretty special.
Selection battle 15 will be interesting as well. Who's your couple of tips?
I suppose you look at someone like Tom Wright, who's played well, missed selection last year for that World Cup squad, and you know, you just got to get comfortable playing in that position. You know, there's a lot of decision making these days. The game has changed considerably since I played, and the role of the fullback. You know, they're running it more. You know, their first receiver, you know, down the short side even more. They've got that ability to. I suppose it's not a great deal of kicking these days. It's hold the ball, work through the phases to maybe score a penalty, advance your way down the field there. So, you know, you throw in young Max Jorgensen. You know, there's plenty to choose from for Joe, which is a good thing. Which is you know, that's always the biggest headache for the coaches. You know, who do you choose when everyone's playing well? And at the moment, you know, there's spots up for grabs, which is great, and it's in a way it's a clean slate. You talked about the incumbents before, but I reckon, you know, if you put your hand up and do well in this Super Rugby season, you've got a good chance of wearing the gold jersey.
Mate, you talk about doing well. Andrew Kellaway's been the Rebels' best player, probably on track to be fullback at the World Cup until Donaldson scored 20 points against Georgia. I mean, where does he sit? When's he going to get a fair go?
That's the great thing. It's about then and there and being in the moment, isn't it? And I think one of the great things about the outside backs from Australia's perspective is they do have a number of players to choose from. You take your opportunities, don't you? Dono scores, I think it was 25 points in that game. When you get given that chance, you take it. And that's the great thing about being selected, whether it's through good form, injury, illness, you get a chance and you've got to take it. And Ben took that in that game of the World Cup. And then you've got to sit on the sideline as a bloke to wait for that chance. But the only way you can do it is by playing well, and just reminding the selectors that I'm playing well week in, week out, and I get that opportunity, and I will go well once the Aussie jersey comes around. So, again, headaches for the selectors, which is a good thing.
Burke, since you kicked 2 from 5, we've been searching for that kind of something change agent to get this Bledisloe Cup back.
Yeah,
it's very rare that it's never happened before that a member of the All Blacks coaching staff has just come straight to the Wallabies coaching staff. What do you think that Joe, his ears are burning here, but what do you think Joe can do? Do you think he's kind of the man who can maybe change this record for us?
Yeah, I think the first thing you get is a calmness, more than anything else. There's a reality there and a calmness, and you don't need massive fanfare. You don't need sort of over the top. When you're playing the game, you know the mentality of who needs to be pumped up and who needs to be calm when you're out in the field there, and that's the psychology of how the coaches get into the team. I think the great thing about it is, for his perspective, is he's had what it's been sort of 8-9 weeks now of Super Rugby, and when you sit down and watch it all, how it all pans out. Who performs under pressure, who doesn't perform under pressure. And I heard him talk about before about the consistencies of from a 3 to a 7. How do you make that to a 7, all the time, or even raise that? And that's that coaching ability that players have. I think the players, when they look at it more than anything, they've got to look at his history as well, and what he did overseas with Ireland, and how he transformed then into that team. For our guys, there's great ability there, there's great skill there, and it just has to be on that level for the 80 minutes. You can't lapse in any games. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you played in that sort of great 84 era or the 91 winners, 99 winners. Now, consistency is the same. You're not trying to reinvent the wheel in these games. It's about being spot on with your skills. If you can do the fancy things, great, but you've got to still do the what I like to call the shitters. Can I say that? You've got to just do the grind. You've got to do the grind. You've got to be able to just do your stuff, and that's what wins you games.
Sounds like Joe's not going to be looking too far. Then Australia's own backyard.
Yeah.
Would you be doing the same sort of thing, or do you think they need reinforcements from up north?
No, I mean, we're talking about players who want to stay in Australia, and there is the ability to choose, I think, 3 players from overseas. But there's great talent here. There's great talent here. I mean, you could say the incumbent Wallaby captain is overseas at the moment. Joe's got the chance to start again if that's the case, as to whom he wants to choose as his leader and leaders in the team. And I think a part of that is you like to work with what you got here. That's one of the great things. You can cherry pick from overseas if need be, but looking around at the moment, there's some great names that have been standing up for the provinces so far, and I think that's a really good indication that that when you get your chance, you have a real go, you have a real crack. So be local, absolutely.
Just from your experience, you talk about competitiveness of the Australian sides in sort of Super Rugby. Did you find that when you were beating those Kiwi sides, that confidence you found translated to when you sort of stepped up to the international level?
Not necessarily. I mean, there is a confidence of being able to play well. That's the consistency that any coach is looking for. I go back to, and this is the old nostalgia days. We had we had a team of, if Eels was captain, for example, if he wasn't there, 6 other blokes could have been captains in that team. And when you look around, you knew you were in good company. You knew the person beside you, outside you, inside, had their ability to do their job. And I think that's the messaging from what's been happening this year in 2024, that when you look around the park there, you've got guys who can do the job. And I think that's the big part of it. So that confidence comes from playing well. There's a confidence within players, when they play. I think one of the great things about it was when you have that ability to look around you in a change room and just sort of give a nod and go, we're all over this. I don't need anyone to sort of pump me up. I don't need anyone to give me a pat in the back because of the work you've done. Gets you to that point. So winning always helps, absolutely. But doing the small things well. I come back to doing those small things well, and that's what the coaching staff is looking for, and that's what the fans are looking for as well. That consistency of doing the small things wins you games.